So, anyways, on to the PR tools for business, because this is very interesting as well. And this is from a marketing perspective that can help everybody, big business owners, small business owners. These are fabulous free tools that I hadn't heard of some of them. And you, Ben, you're an expert in marketing, and you hadn't heard of them either. So let's talk about this a little bit. Apparently, this was in the Content Factory, and I have to really say I recommend this group, the Content Factory. I ran across them in my Twitter account, and I've been very impressed with what they've been putting out. And this is titled 9 Free Online PR Tools for Business, and it talks about Hootsuite, Hootsuite, which is a way to, it's a program that allows you to combine your Twitter, your Facebook, your LinkedIn updates, and monitor Twitterverse for keywords related to your industry, check the popularity of the links that you tweet, and more. And it's great, except that the only thing I would caution is that sometimes coordination isn't good. I've seen other articles recently that say it's a big no-no to really sync your Facebook and your Twitter accounts, because, of course, Twitter is so limited.
Yeah,
right.
Limited. So it's different updates possibly but that's time consuming. I think that article was saying that you want to have some of them synced, and then you are going to, for anything, it looks more natural when you're taking the time to go into each one. They're different communities. People on Twitter is a different community. And I'm not a social media expert, but that's what everybody would say. And it's time consuming. That's the problem, is that you can't get on, you're building 2-3 different networks, and they are spread out, and something like this can make it simpler. You're not going to end all the human interaction that you have to do, and you're going to have to spend time in each different group, because they definitely need to be nurtured differently.
Right. So, and there's another article we'll talk about in a little bit, as if I get a chance to, which kind of backs up exactly what you said. And they also have talked about iWeb Tool, which I had never heard of, and it says we were fashionably late to the iWeb Tool party. So it says now we wonder how we ever did business without it. It takes Google Analytics to the next level. You can check your backlinks, find out where you rank for specific SEO keywords, find out your keyword density of your site content, and a ton of other stuff. It says it'll pretty much do everything but make you breakfast in the morning, and it's free to use. It's iWeb Tool.
That sounds really interesting.
Yeah,
and there's a lot of tools out there like that. I haven't checked out iWeb Tool, but I really like SEO Moz for that, and it's great area, but it still kind of comes to an expertise. Like you're going to get all this data, and you're going to be like, well, I don't really know what to do with it, and so it's not simple. It's not like they're not giving you really easy answers. It's definitely a lot easier than collecting all the data yourself. So it is useful for anybody that's trying to improve their SEO. Just realize it's not a step-by-step guide. That's all.
Thank you for pointing that out, and you would know that. Google Docs. I love Google Docs. I started using them. They mention how great it is because, of course, you can share your spreadsheets, calendars, TPS reports, and everything. You can share documents with people, throughout the internet.
Have you met any business that's actually been running on Google? Because that was Google's whole plan with the Google Docs is nobody needs Office anymore, ever. We can do the Google Docs.
No, because, I've used them myself, and they're somewhat self-limiting. They're just not as rich in variety as the Microsoft Office is, in my opinion. But, I mean, it's a good substitute. If you have something you really want to share, like, say you have a scattered sales team, that'd be a perfect use for Google Docs. But other than that, maybe not. AutoCrit, they mentioned a company called AutoCrit. It says, and it's spelled AUTOCRIT, will let you know when you're overusing words, when your sentence structure needs to be overhauled, and when your spelling is off. It's basically a better version of Words Editor. It says, maybe not. Depends on how good your grammar is and your grasp of writing. Another one, though, is Google Analytics, which I know you've got to be familiar with, and it says it lets you see where your traffic is coming from.
That's everybody is definitely
right.
Into
Everybody's
that,
going to use
whether
that.
they're doing pay-per-click or any type of internet marketing, they're going to be using analytics. And it's a great program. They keep it up to date. They keep changing it. It's put out by Google, so it's free. And of course, I mean that's definitely your dashboard for the whole thing. So using that. Definitely get into that because it's fun to see it, and the information is not too difficult, and there's plenty of tutorials online to actually get into it, use it, and if you don't know where your traffic's coming from, or if you don't know how well your last PR release did, or you can see it. You can see it in there. You can see what kind of progress you're making. So that's a great tool, obviously.
Fabulous. And they also mentioned Google Alerts, which I'm sure somehow
I used that one time, Frida, and it just blew up my mailbox. Somebody was trying to show. Yeah, I mean that's maybe you want to set it up with a different. Yeah, you might want to be careful on how many alerts you set because there's obviously a lot of news stories coming out on a daily basis. So
good point.
you can get like 500 alerts into your mailbox.
And what we're talking about, for those of you who don't know Google Alerts, it says that you can set alerts for your name, company name, competitors, and keywords relevant to your industry. And then as those things are mentioned, you'll get an email with the link to the source. And you can see, as Ben says, how crazy that can be.
No, that is a great idea. I hadn't thought about that. Like, that's definitely like online reputation. If anybody's talking about you,
right,
and you see it, hopefully it's good things.
Yeah.
I don't know. Those would be news stories that they would be talking about, that they would be alerting you, just in case somebody put out, something about you and passing the Wisconsin bill. You might get alerted and be like, uh-oh.
Well, yeah.
I hope it doesn't go viral. And
yes, that would be bad. Interesting that you should say that, because there are, of course, some things on the internet, too, that allow you to control your name to a certain extent, where you can say, yes, this is me, yes, this is not me. But another one, but what you just said, I had somebody steal an article I wrote once, and they stole it completely, absolutely verbatim, put it on their website. It was obviously one of those spam type websites, but I was angry, and I wrote to them, and I threatened legal action, and they didn't care. They didn't care at all, probably because they were in China. What am I going to do to them? So I don't know how much this is going to help, but this is Copyscape.
That's the best tool. That's my favorite tool out of there.
Really?
Yeah.
It says, is somebody stealing your web content writing? Are you sure? Copyscape will let you know with just a few clicks for free. So you've used it.
I used it heavily. It's great. I think they have a free version, so you can go out there and try it and see who's copying your content or how much copied content you have. It's good to be original. And so, but that's a great, somebody introduced me to that program, and there's other ones out there, but I think, and this one's not perfect because it doesn't have a huge database, and like you said, you still have to press action if you want somebody to take it down. Yeah. But it's nice to know, to see how an article or something that you wrote, if people are using it legitimately or if they're actually violating copyright laws against you. And I don't think you can get too many people scared unless somebody does it accidentally on a big site. But a lot of those spam sites out there, you're pretty much stuck with them doing whatever they want to do.
I haven't always done it, but I do have a little trick that I won't share on the air as to ways that I can brand what I'm writing and can prove I've written it. I don't do it all the time, but it might be something that people might want to consider too. If you have something you're very, very possessive of, a particular article, or maybe something you've done in depth, you might want to consider ways to make sure it's branded, or print it out and even do the poor man's copyright, where you print it out, mail it to yourself, and you don't open it again, and then you have the postal stamp saying what date and what time it was mailed out, and you can keep that, so that if a month later it shows up somewhere else, you can say, hey, it originated with me, here it is. So something to consider if you had to do. Poll Daddy, it says, want to make your website more interactive? Polls for your blogs are a great way to do it, and Poll Daddy gives them to you for free, and that's POLL Daddy. Poll Daddy. So if you want to throw a poll up on your website and get people to take a little more interest in it, I've done polls before. Sometimes you get interest. Sometimes people are like, boring. Who cares?
I'm not one to take a poll. Sometimes I think my time is worth more than it really is. But
I don't.
It's definitely interesting that you got a different group of people online, and it's useful to anybody running a website. So you're going to get feedback. So you're going to get some answers to what people want, or something that maybe you need to release a new story on. Is Poll Daddy free? Is it?
Poll Daddy is free. And there are other sites besides Poll Daddy. I've used other ones too in the past, but I've just found mixed results with polls. I suppose, I think if it's a short poll and it's something personal, I think just gut instinct. And I think that you would do better than a business poll, because most people don't want to take the time to help your business. But if it's a time to express themselves, it falls more into a personal realm, and they might be more willing to do that. So maybe you'll get participation that way, but you might not be able to really get any useful business information using a poll, in my opinion. Could be wrong. I'd like to know if anybody has any other opinions on that. The number here is 866-826-1340. Again, 866-826-1340.
So that's on content. What's the website that you found that on?
This one was found on the Content Factory. Very, very good group. Great resource. Those sound like great tools, and I think anybody that's managing their websites obviously looking for answers. Those are a few tools that I use, and they all sound great. Yeah.